Oh, wait. I've already messed up. Oh, shoot. And apparently I messed it up again. So, all right,
Well,
everybody. Me and Austin, welcome back to Beyond the Trail podcast, where I am so rusty doing the live screens that I started the intro twice and we ended up on a blank scene when it was supposed to be me and Austin. So, the title of this episode I put together about 6 minutes ago. It's called Where the Heck Have We Been? And the thumbnail Austin put together. Austin, how long? I mean, 20
uh,
minutes ago?
yeah. So Jester sent me a text that says, "Hey, can you put a thumbnail together for the thing that we're about to do in 30 minutes?" And I said, "Crap." The thumbnail was thrown together at the last minute, which is par for the course for us. But yeah, we're learning on the go for this episode. Y'all
Yeah.
like normally the behind the scenes stuff is like maybe a little more polished. This is going to be about as rough of a behind the scenes because we've got a few things we want to try to do today, like showing sneak peeks of videos and stuff.
Yeah.
It may
And
or
I don't
may
know
not
how to
work.
add it.
It may or may not work.
So before we get into the meat and potatoes. I think I've heard you say that before, Austin, of the
Yep.
episode. We do want to remind everybody that we do have a brand partner for 2023 for Jester Wallis Productions, and that includes talking about this brand partner on our podcast, Beyond the Trail, and our brand partner is Hiker Metals. And I want to give a huge shout out to Wim because this summer, I actually took a road trip across the country and visited a few places and went to one particular place, but I did not actually go to the top of this. But a couple weeks ago, I got this medal in the mail. So I'm going to show you guys this. And you'll laugh, Austin, because on the podcast, we actually talked about
Oh,
going
very
up
nice.
to the Manitou
Yeah.
incline. And I actually got to see the incline. I did not go to the top of it. I did not have plans to walk much on the incline. A lot of people don't know there's a trail that goes right beside the incline where you don't actually have to go on the steps, but you have to have a permit. There's actually a permitting process.
Of course there is.
And I could have got a walk up permit, but I just wanted to be at the base of the incline. I wanted to see all what the hubbub was about. And when I got to the base of the incline, it felt like 100 degrees. And I was like, there is no way I'm climbing 3 miles or however long it is of these steps. But Wim has a new medal out. I think it's out on his website now, hikermetals.com. If you have done the Manitou incline, you can now get a medal to show and show off to your friends when they come over to visit. So shout out to Wim. And you can get 20% off still on Hiker Metals if you use the code Jester in all caps. And we are excited. Not only are we going to see Wim hopefully soon, sometime at the beginning of the year, but we are also going to be showing off our film, Safe and Found. But Austin, before we get into that, I think both of us can maybe, I feel like I said yesterday, I feel like this is the very first weekend since January 4th and 5th or whenever it was that we went to begin the filming of Safe and Found. I can't remember the exact
Wow.
dates.
That's right. It was January or something like that, wasn't it?
I feel
Yeah.
like this is the very
January,
first
February.
weekend yesterday that I could actually take a breath. Literally. I know you're laughing, but I want to read off some things. So I wrote down, this is just everything that you and I have done. This is not our personal lives. This is not our work. This is just everything you and I have done since the last episode. You ready?
Send it.
So we went to NC Trail Days in Elkin, North Carolina, and showed I Am the MST. We went to Kentucky for some filming of Safe and Found. You remember? I had to really think about that. We went to West Virginia. Actually, we've been to West Virginia on 2 separate occasions to film for the West Virginia Scenic Trails Association. We both went on amazing summer adventures, not together, separately. This is a big one. We both switched our day jobs. We both have.
I actually have a day job now.
Austin has a day job now.
I don't switch back and forth.
No. So we both, I don't want to say we took steps. We both have the same career, but we took some different steps. We went to Alda in Abingdon, Virginia, and showed I Am the MST. And now we are in full on editing mode for Safe and Found. And I think I realized this past weekend, yesterday, when I say this past weekend, I mean yesterday, that, wow, we need to take a breath. So take a breath, Austin. What are your thoughts on everything I just said?
When you put it all together like that, it does sound like a lot. But I mean, and I have a very unique perspective looking back on all of this footage that we have shot over the last year,
Yeah.
roughly a year, 10 months, 11 months. And like, for instance, the interview that we went to go shoot in Kentucky, it was like, that was a big process for us to get up there, just to schedule it. Because the scheduling was a big question mark for a long time. And then we both get up there, we both go to this person's house, we talk to this person for better part of 2 hours about some really heavy stuff. And then like, I've just got this, hour and a half long video clip in my editing software. And I'm just like, there's so much work and effort and time behind that little
Yeah.
clip.
And I was
And
just remembering the evening before we met at that amazing campground. I have no clue what the name
yeah,
of it was. Remember
yeah,
that? Yeah.
yep. Yeah. So there's so many stories behind the videos, behind all these interviews. And so it's very surreal to just kind of see them all lined up there in my editing software. Just, click on 1, click on 7, click on 8. And it's all there to watch. But there's so much that went into that. And so there's still, knock on wood here, there's still a lot of work that we still need to do. One of the things, and we've kind of broken up, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but long story short, we got a lot of stuff, a lot of video that
Yeah.
is just, I wish we could include it all in the Safe and Found film. But it would be a 6-hour film, and I don't think anybody wants
Nobody
to sit
wants
through
to see that. And another thing that we did last weekend, I'm just going to go ahead and say it publicly. We had our first, I don't know if you want to call it a fight, or what was that? What would you call it? As business partners. Yeah, we had our first tango.
It was our first real disagreement. And we made it. So
I don't know. Was it a disagreement or?
I don't know. I think both of us have just been going through so much lately. Both, like you said, professionally, personally, everything like that. I think we finally just caught each other at the wrong moment. So, moving on, onwards.
Moving on. Yeah. So, as business partners, as friends and business partners, this year we've done a lot.
Yeah.
And I also turned 50. And
Whoop,
whoop, whoop. In my personal life, I always said when I turned 50 that I was going to start making changes. Well, I turned 50 and it was time to put my money where my mouth was, so to speak. A lot of people don't know this. I always say I'm in education. I say, I'm a teacher, but I actually am still in education. I actually took a step down. I'm going down ladders. I'm no longer building my resume. Which is a great feeling. I actually took a step down from an administrator role and changed schools and went back in the classroom. And wow, what an adjustment. The first couple of weeks, I mean, I was literally having nightmares. Like, what did I do this for? And then after that, now I am so happy. Now that I'm 6 weeks removed, I've been doing this new role for 6 weeks, working with different people. And I'm like, oh my God, what was I waiting on? Like, what was I waiting on?
So much better. That weight is gone.
Oh my God. Now, if I could just get physical weight off, that would be good. Mental weight is totally gone. And, this past couple of years I've been dealing with that. I've also been dealing with an injury, and I'm happy to say yesterday I spent an hour on the trails. So,
there you go.
Austin, I don't think hiking Jester. I think injured Jester and complaining Jester, and I don't even know what all. But I feel like I'm actually getting back to myself these past couple years. And, I totally forgot. The very first of the year, our company was destroyed and we had to rebuild it.
Yeah, there's that. But we made it. We made it probably 2 months. That's 2 months before that whole thing went down.
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah.
forgot about that. That should have been
Cool.
like the number one thing. So
Holy smokes, yeah.
personally, we've been going through a lot. I don't know if you want to share anything about your job and what's happened now that I've put it out there.
So I work in public safety, and you can read between the lines on that one. But for the last 11 years, I have worked a rotating shift of days and nights. And as of about 2 weeks ago, I switched to a position that is mostly Monday through Friday while the sun's up. So there's a couple of, there's an asterisk there because there are certain things that I'll do at night and on weekends and stuff like that. But for the most part, I can get, for the first time in a decade, I'm going to get an actual circadian rhythm, and maybe get some decent sleep because I've had some legitimate issues with sleep because of all of it. So it feels real good. I've told folks at work that I feel like I've been carrying around this heavy backpack, and I just put it down. And now I'm walking around without this 100-pound backpack, and it feels pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. So things are good. Things are on the up and up work ways. So, yeah, good times.
I look back on, changing jobs over these last 6 weeks, and I'm pretty sure you and I don't even know how this happened. You and I ended up coinciding that pretty close together, not really, meaning
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
because we live in separate cities, separate lives, in addition to our company. And I look back on that, and it's amazing what you put yourself through that's not necessary when it's hard to make a decision to make a change, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because hindsight's always 2020, but it's hard to make a change. The school I was at, this would have been my 18th year. And people were like, "Hey, believe you're leaving, just stick it out." And I'm like, "For what?"
Yeah. Why?
Like, yeah,
What's
why?
the reason?
And I finally had to convince I think turning 50, it was like, okay, you said you were going to start changing things. Now do it.
Yep.
So that's kind of what prompted me to make that change. But in the meanwhile, while that was going on, we were going to Alta, we were going to West Virginia. We were beginning to edit the film. And it was just like, whoa, there was so much in my brain. I actually thought it was going to explode. And I'm pretty sure I exploded on you last weekend.
It happens. It happens.
I woke up this week. I was like, Austin hates me.
Luckily, we've got probably the better part of 2 years of friendship to fall back on. So
that's true.
We can make it through a spat. But I'm like, I'm just super excited about what we got coming up. The next 2 months, I'm like, Julie's taking a breath, which is good. I'm starting to get into like, okay, this is real as far as the editing goes. So, Safe and Found is well on its way to being completed. We kind of alluded to, I want to say we alluded to it on maybe the last podcast we had her on, with Heidi Nisbett from Sketching Summits. But Heidi is part of the team now for Safe and Found. And she is doing some of her amazing work. Holy smokes. So, the thing, and I think we're gonna have Heidi on, and we're gonna do a full podcast about
at
this.
the beginning of the year. We're gonna have Heidi on and just explode everything that she's been doing. Not everything, but
so some of the reason that we brought Heidi on was because, in filmography, whatever you want to call it, there are terms called A roll and B roll, and so, for instance, A roll is like your talking head interview, and then B roll is kind of that film that you would put on top, of somebody hiking or somebody getting rescued or whatever, on top of that talking head, so that it's not just a talking head video for an hour. And so we have stories within Safe and Found that we don't have B-roll for. They're rescues, they're recoveries, they're these life stories from folks. There's no way to film it because it already happened. You can only pull so much off of open source media. I learned firsthand that to get permissions to use a news clip, can cost a humongous astronomical chunk of money that's
Yeah.
just not feasible.
We don't have it.
Well, yeah. And so we gotta find a way to get this B-roll into the film that kind of visually conveys these stories. And so in my mind, before, this was probably back in like April and May, I knew that this gap was going to exist, and we tried to start like thinking how we're going to fill it. And I thought, well, some type of animation. Um, and I was like, yeah, like that costs money because I'm not going to do it because I don't know. You really have to have the skill set to do that. And I was like, it's going to cost money, and I don't, how do we convey the feeling of the film to this person, whoever we're asking to do it. And it actually happened at Trail Days. And
Yeah,
we
at
were
NC Trail Days in
at NC
Elkin.
Trail Days, yeah, in Elkin. And Jester and I are walking down the street in Elkin, and there's Heidi, and she's got her booth up, and she's got her awesome artwork up. And I think that we kind of came to the idea at the same time, but like, what if we get Heidi on board to do the drawings? Because she's got a very unique style. And yeah, so I had this idea in my brain of what I wanted the artwork to look like. And so we had Heidi on, we did a couple of Zoom calls, kind of explained the thought process behind it all. And she cranked out the first few prints. And it was like she was inside my head, and it just came out, and I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was thinking. So anyways, we're going to have Heidi on, and we're going to talk about that process in a lot more detail. So
What
Heidi,
she's done, I mean, I cannot even.
man, it's awesome.
If I'd have had my act together, maybe I could have shown one of those as well.
No, we're all about teasers this morning. So we'll save that one for when Heidi comes on. But yeah, so super excited about having Heidi on board, because she's going to be doing a whole bunch of artwork for us for Safe and Found. But yeah, so that's kind of a major addition. But we're the ideal timeline here. We're looking at beginning of January is when we're going to go live with Safe and Found. We'll have a trailer out here at some point. I literally, as of last night, finished putting together all the raw clips for the ending of the film. And to give you an idea of how much we have versus how much is going to make it out. So we're looking at, our ideal timeline for the film is about 45 minutes. We don't want to stray too much beyond that. And,
well, we should be honest. We were at an hour, and we were like,
yeah, we were at an hour, and we hadn't even finished the end yet. Like, we hadn't even added anything from the end. So we had to do some major cutting.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, one of our interviews was a really, really great interview from somebody that was rescued. And I think the original cut was like 30 minutes, and I trimmed it down to 11. So like, and somehow
after some prodding,
it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It has got to be the hardest part.
You had two pokers at you. You had two
Man,
pokers, one me, one
hard.
Heidi. We were poking, man. The end of it was hot.
So anyways, there's going to be some prodding coming up, because the end of the film,
I saw those videos. I was like, oh boy, Austin's going to get mad at me again.
well, no, I mean, I knew. So it's kind of like putting this puzzle together. And I think the end of the film probably shouldn't be more than 10 minutes. And last night I put together 5 videos, 5 different videos
It was
that will
4 or
represent,
5, yeah.
yeah, that will represent the end of the film. And I think if you add them all up, it's probably an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So there's just, I mean, now granted, there's some of it's going to be easier to cut than others, but that just gives you an idea of the scale of how much stuff we have. And Julie and I have already talked about, like, this stuff isn't just going to get buried. Like, we're going to have to share it outside of the film, like outside of Safe and Found, like have its own, wherever that lives, so that we can share some of this stuff, because it's all amazing. Like, the people that we talk to are absolutely out of this world amazing. And the footage deserves to be seen. It just won't be seen in that Safe and Found film.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
Lots of good times had in the editing arena. But
Yeah, and we are working very closely with Nancy East on getting a premiere, which we know 100% is going to be in Waynesville, North Carolina. So the film will have a premiere time period, and we're hoping to get a venue. Nancy, gracious Nancy, I mean, has been this whole thing with her and making this film. She has been very, very gracious to us. And we are working on getting a venue where not only we can show the film, but another teaser is we want to make that an educational day, a hiker safety educational day. I don't know what we will officially call it, where there are a couple more activities than just watching the film. So mark your calendars for January. We are hoping to get all in the same room. Of course, me and Austin, Nancy and her family, Wim and his wife and his family, the individuals that are in the film and their family. We're also hoping to get as much as the Haywood County Search and Rescue team in the room as well, and make that an educational day, a very unique day for people to come for the weekend, hang out in Waynesville, North Carolina. If the weather's good, do some hiking. So we are hoping to have a date for that sometime the end of January, beginning of February. And as soon as we have a date, we will come back on live and let you guys know. We plan on having Heidi on. We plan on having Nancy back on, probably going to have Wim back on. So we are looking at a formal premiere. And then we have some more ideas on where we can premiere the film. And then we won't release it now, I don't think. But, and when I say release, I mean information. Where the film will eventually live, we have some ideas. But we want to premiere the film and travel with the film as much as possible. So that is kind of where we are with the timeline and all that good stuff. And it's hard to believe here in a couple months it will come to fruition. So that's where we are, which leads to I've been thinking about 2024, Austin. I don't know if you want to talk about it here or if you want to talk about it offline, of what things look like for Jester Wallis Productions. One of the things I've been thinking about is what are we going to do with all that additional footage?
yeah,
And then what you and I are going to do. I mean, obviously, I think we need to, I'll just throw it out there. I think we need to start building our YouTube channel. Now we have more content to get out there beyond the film. We're also working with the West Virginia Scenic Trails Association for a film for them. It is a paid contract, yay, that we are making a film for them to premiere the Allegheny Trail. Austin, you want to talk about that a little bit?
yeah. So the West Virginia folks reached out to us, and I think we've talked about it a little bit already. But we ended up we made another trip up a couple weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah, it
And
wasn't that long ago. It was like 3 weeks.
no,
Well, maybe it
yeah,
was 2 weeks ago. I don't remember.
but ended up going to a guy's house and doing 3 or 4 interviews just in his backyard, which is gorgeous, by the way. And then went up to the Raptor Observatory.
Oh my God, that place was amazing.
Yeah, I didn't see any raptors.
Boo.
Funny story. So I'm an admitted camera geek, and so I've been dabbling with like looking at telephoto lenses, and I've never actually used one before. And so hey, we're going to a raptor observatory. Like maybe we'll see some raptors. I'm gonna rent a telephoto lens. So I rent this massive.
I mean, that thing weighed 10 pounds.
It was pretty close, yeah. Took it up there, set it up, and the wind was just whipping that day. And got some great video of some ravens but that was about it. So just a funny, like, oh well, kind of thing. But
That's
just a
how it goes
gorgeous
with
spot.
us, Austin. It
Oh yeah,
never like, yeah.
yeah. But got some great video going up to Hanging Rock, which is a gorgeous spot too. But what I thought was really interesting, what was I'm having a brain fart on the other guy's name that we were with. Um,
Brian,
Brian.
Joel.
No, I think it was Brian. The
Okay.
the guy that we hit, it was actually his house.
Yes,
Yeah,
Brian. Yeah.
Brian. But Brian, you could just see the pride that he had for the Allegheny Trail, for the Hanging Rock area, for the observatory itself. Because the more we got to talk to him, the more we realized how instrumental he was with everything that he has done for that area. And you could just see the pride and the ownership that he took for that. And it was really kind of just uplifting in a way to be around someone that has done so much for the Allegheny Trail for like 20 years. He's been the guy in that area, and
Yeah, and he
so
got really emotional
yeah,
when we were
yeah.
interviewing him as well. And I was just like, wow, those interviews that we did at his house were amazing. Were amazing.
hmm Yeah, so that was probably the coolest part of the whole thing was, just be, being up in the West Virginia mountains this time of year was an experience unto itself. I mean, just the colors up there this time of year are absolutely gorgeous. There's no camera that can capture what we saw, but yeah, that experience with Justin as
Hmm.
well, like you can feel the pride and the love that they have for that trail. And that's what I hope when we are creating this film for them, that comes out, that comes out through the videos. Because that's the special part of any trail, um, are the people behind it, and the love that they have that keeps it going. So yeah, good times.
Yeah. So in the beginning of 2024, we're hope to have some premieres. We will be working on the Allegheny Trail film for them. It'll also go out on the Jester Wallis Productions here on the YouTube channel. And I was thinking for 2024, we have so much footage that we need to figure out how to put that footage together and make, I don't know if you want to call them short films. I mean, we could put several short films together that would live on our YouTube channel. And we could begin to build the podcast more.
Yeah,
We have 9 episodes out there, but in 2024, because of Austin and I's schedules and the way things work, I think we can be more consistent with the podcast. We can put out more short films based on the footage that we have. Because one of the things that I want to make sure we do, especially from the footage from Safe and Found, is that we give those we interviewed their due justice.
absolutely. Yeah, because I think we have 12, 13 um, different interviews,
Yeah.
and there's no way that some folks, just through the course of the storyline, we're not going to be able. We might get one clip out of an hour long interview.
Yeah.
So we want, like I said, we don't want that footage to just get buried. We want to show the due justice to what they've said, because there's some really great stuff in there.
Yeah. And I mean, if we have 12 or 13 different interviews, I mean, you're looking at, if we really try to dial in, and we're just having a conversation like we would on the phone, really.
Hmm
If we were to really dial in 2024 with what we have already, I mean, you're
There's
talking,
plenty.
yeah,
There's
one
plenty.
short film a month, if that's what we're going to call them, and then
Yeah.
one Beyond the Trail episode of the podcast. And there's 2 new videos, if that's what you want to call it, so to speak, going out on YouTube every month.
hmm
So, I mean, if we think about it that way, that will definitely start to build what we're doing. It'll build a portfolio. It'll get more of our work out there. And it will feature what we've done. I mean, we have done a lot of interviews with individuals And I'm sure the West Virginia Scenic Trails, they wouldn't mind if we used some of that as well. So what are your thoughts around that?
I think that, I think we've got our work cut out for us for next year.
Yeah.
We've got so much stuff that we can put out there that's going to come out. You know, the Safe and Found and the two videos for the Allegheny Trail are going to be kind of the polished versions. But there's so much educational footage that we have about how a search and rescue team actually operates, what a search looks like from a rescuer's perspective.
I mean, we could do something with that entire training. We went to a full-on like search and rescue training.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. We went to that
Yeah.
back in March. That was 10 hours. That was all day.
Yeah, so we went. I mean, we went through a full day of a training exercise. We've got. I think I have. So I just finished the rough clips last night. So we broke it down into like things you can do to be safe. You know, as a hiker, things that you can do to be safe, things that you can do to be found. And I think the safe version, so just things you can do to be safe, was like 40 minutes. So,
Awesome.
so there's a lot there. So I think we've got plenty to work with. And again, those are important messages that we can put out because, you know, it's geared towards, it's not geared towards the people that already know what they're doing. I'm gonna retract that
I
statement.
think it is. Yeah.
It is, because we even had the discussion that I have become a more conscientious hiker with my 10 essentials. Just when we go out and film in the woods, you know, I have my new fancy camera backpack that's got all my lenses and batteries and drones and everything like that. But then I've also tucked the 10 essentials in there too. So I've got a shelter, I've got, you know, extra clothes, I've got food, I've got water, I've got fire starter, headlamp, the whole thing. So like it's all in there now.
And I'm the one that went out last weekend. We went for a couple mile hike. I didn't take anything. And I was like, well, that was stupid. That is not being a good steward.
So I think it's made both of us better. So I'm excited for next year. You know, I've got some, I'm also like as a editor, I've kind of put Side Trail Adventures to the side. So like I've got some trip videos that I'm very excited to get out there. Like one, you know what, we went to Glacier National Park this summer and did a pack rafting trip in Glacier on the Belly River, which is not often paddled. So I'm very excited to get that footage out there because it was an epic trip. So yeah, lots of good things coming.
I'm excited to see that footage.
Absolutely unreal.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, you know, about the trip while you were talking about that. Went to Silverton, Colorado this summer. I didn't film a thing. It was wonderful. I did put short clips together, so if you want to see that, it is over on Instagram. But I am really looking forward to summer of 2024. There is going to be some major hiking. That's all I'm going to say.
America.
I'm going to start. I'm going back to my motherland, my mothership. Where
it should be.
Yes,
the way it should be.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I think we're at a pretty good place. So we told everybody where the heck we've been.
Very
we've
busy.
given them a little taste of what's to come for Safe and Found. And what's up for 2024. And I think we are going to take a pause. Again, it will not be a 4 or 5 month pause, whatever it was. I think we'll be back. We've decided January 4th is going to be a big live podcast day with more information. Everything dialed in, fingers crossed, for Safe and Found. We do have a little clip, which I'm 100% positive I cannot put on here right now because I cannot build a scene while we're in a scene on Ecamm. For any of you, if there's any geeks out there that work on Ecamm, I have to build the scene to show the video. So Should we put that out on YouTube anyway?
We'll just wait for the trailer to come out. It'll
Okay.
be the trailer will show everything.
Oh,
Sorry,
the
folks.
trailer's going to launch January 1st, right? I think that's what we decided.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I'm thinking, January 1st, we are Happy New Year. We're going to be launching the trailer for Safe and Found. And then January 4th, we are going to be going live with Heidi, Nancy East. She doesn't know it yet, and then hopefully Wim will join us on the 4th. And then toward the end of the month, or whenever the date ends up being, we hope to see all of you at the premiere in Waynesville, North Carolina. We know 100% it is going to be there. It is going to be in January, fingers crossed. So mark your calendars, join us. And I want to remind everybody the reason that we're doing this is it is for the Western North Carolina Safety Fund, raising money for the Western North Carolina Safety Fund, which is the nonprofit organization that manages the funding for the Haywood County Search and Rescue Team. So at the premiere, we are going to be asking for donations. There will be a cost to get into the premiere, but the cost is giving a donation to the Western North Carolina Safety Fund. That's the whole goal, is to raise money for search and rescue, and specifically the Haywood County Search and Rescue Team. That's why we're doing this. That's why Wim created the, I do have this built. That is why Wim created the Smokies 900 Miler medal that will coincide with any, what is it? 20% of the proceeds of the money from this particular medal will go to the Western North Carolina Safety Fund. So if you're a Smokies geek or a 900 Miler geek, get that medal, and that will automatically contribute to that fund as well. Austin, what am I missing?
I think that was pretty good.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is the main reason we're doing this is to get the word out about hiker safety and what happens to individuals that either have to be rescued or taken away from the trail, that got themselves in a situation. It has happened to me. It can happen to anybody. And what's funny is it's not funny. What's sad is almost every day on Facebook, I see something of something that's gone wrong on the trail with the hiker, almost every day.
Yeah.
Almost every day, which makes me feel better about what we're doing and that we're doing the right thing.
Yep. Yeah. So like the Western North Carolina Wilderness Safety Fund is that it's money that goes directly to the Haywood County Search and Rescue Team to help them with equipment costs, with training costs, and that kind of thing. So it's not one of those, just big pots of money that just gets, just vanishes into somebody's, operating budget. It goes directly to where it's needed the most. And we've talked to the folks that control it, and they're on point. Really, really just dialed in individuals that you want to have come find you if you're lost.
Yeah. Yeah. And after you see Safe and Found, you'll know why.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a big tease there too. So we will put the link in the description for the Western North Carolina Safety Fund. You certainly don't have to wait until January to make a donation. I know the end of the year's coming up and people need to make their donations, and there's no better cause than this that I can think of when it comes to being safe in the backcountry. And Austin, I think we're good. We will see you guys. And you know what? I say January 1st, but the way Austin and I go, it could be next week. Probably won't be, but it could be before January that we see you. Otherwise, I think we're good. So any parting thoughts?
No, I'm really excited about what we got coming up. It's just, there's so much, it's going to be a powerful message that we try to put out. And I'm very, very excited to be a part of it.
And I will say this, we are going to need your help. spreading the word about the film when the time has come. So, and I think, Austin, you and I will probably go on for an episode over on the Jester section hiker to get more of the word out there. If anybody out there has a podcast and you want Austin and I on, we'll be more than glad to be guests. What else can we think of? If you have a live YouTube show, please invite us. We will come on. I will do whatever it takes to get the word out there.
Yeah.
Because the individuals in this film deserve it. And, those that go and rescue hikers off the trail deserve it as well. So with that being said, until we see you guys again, be safe out there.
And good times.